brother, there are many underlying issues between I and Afenyo Markin that you don't know and those watching don't know. I have appeared on News Farm many times. Perhaps in this country, I have held more press conferences on political issues than anybody. Have you ever heard me use the word extortion against any of my critics? Have you ever heard me? Why will I use this word now? And why have you not heard Afenyo say anything about that or challenge me or threaten to sue? So the MPP people talking, there are things you don't know. I will not just, I'm a consummate Democrat. I eat and drink debates. I'm not worried.
Call the minority leader an extortionist.
I'm not worried if you criticize him.
To...
Yes. And that is why he cannot comment on that or even challenge me. He cannot. Because he knows that what I said is true. So there are many things that you may not have the benefit of. But let me talk about
little jovial.
But what did I do? Me too. I just compared him to Kojo Ponkroma, Abena Sare. Kojo Ponkroma, Abena Sare, me, Anta. All of whom are his colleagues in parliament, MPP people, who have criticized us. And I said, when you listen to those criticisms, you see maybe lack of information, but they don't make it personal. But when you listen to him, you hear malice for Sammy Gyamfi. Other than that, who can read these IMF reports and even suggest that Sammy Gyamfi will have to meet onerous bail conditions to the tune of 22 billion? Because this issue is not about Sammy Gyamfi. So you see the smear campaign there. You get my point? Then he says, Obi Antongo de Moka. In this world, the most cheapest thing to trade is water. You went and supervised 4 consecutive years of losses at Ghana Water Limited when you were board chairman, from 2017 to 2024. A cumulative loss of 3.3 billion. You were sent to ECG as board chair. You supervised another loss of 8.2 billion cedis in 2024. What on Suaboka? What on Kenya Boka? Who you are not asked to meet any onerous bail conditions. Sammy Gyamfi that has not incurred any loss, it is me who will meet onerous bail conditions. So
that's the point.
So
if the audit, if the audit exonerates you from the claims he makes, but why should you reply in such measure?
No, but that is why I'm saying that just like he can criticize me, he's also not beyond reproach. You get my point? So Sammy Gyamfi should be criticized. Afenyo Markin should not be criticized. This is not an insult. I am showing you that this is your record. Cumulative loss of 3.3 billion at Ghana Water, 8.2 billion ECG. You are not facing any criminal action and onerous bail terms. Why should you project that on me when I have not made a loss? You see, my brother, there are many underlying issues between I and Afenyo Markin that you don't know and those watching don't know. I have appeared on News Farm many times. Perhaps in this country, I have held more press conferences on political issues than anybody. Have you ever heard me use the word extortion against any of my critics? Have you ever heard me? Why will I use this word now? And why have you not heard Afenyo say anything about that or challenge me or threaten to sue? So the MPP people talking, there are things you don't know. I will not just, I'm a consummate Democrat. I eat and drink debates. I'm not worried.
Call the minority leader an extortionist.
I'm not worried if you criticize him. Yes. And that is why he cannot comment on that or even challenge me. He cannot. Because he knows that what I said is true. So there are many things that you may not have the benefit of. But let me talk about my good brother.
Afenyo Markin is a self-made man.
No problem.
He's got the chain of businesses.
Maybe tell him that.
Why does he need to come and extort money from Gold Board?
Tell him that you want to be his lawyer so that he sues Sammy Gyamfi to substantiate that claim. Tell him. Or tell him that you give him an interview here and Sammy Gyamfi will come and that you should dare Sammy Gyamfi. That is not an insult. I'm speaking about what has happened and he knows. Now, finally, my good brother, Honorable Nilante Van der Poel. And here I want to address our rank and file.
We're told his campaign is doomed.
Yeah. I want to address our rank and file. Honorable Nilante Van der Poel is one of the people who have been very supportive of my young political career projection. I consider him a senior brother. And I know that he harbors no ill will towards me. But we are all not perfect. Sometimes, in communicating, something may come across in a way we never intended it. The man says he's sorry. I believe it ends there. Yesterday, I had a very hearty conversation with him, and we put it behind us. Because at the end of the day, we in the NDC have a party to build and a nation to govern. And so that is all I want to say about that. But you see, the feedback that some of the comparisons and the words were strong is duly understood and taken in good faith. But I have explained to you that that is how you crush deliberate, malicious smear campaigns. When somebody wants to, for 3 months, Sammy Gyamfi, gold board, you don't give such a person a peg on the cheek, a hug, and a bouquet of flowers.
Okay.
You call him out for the world to know that what he's doing is not born out of any quest for accountability. It is personal. And the reason why he's on that personal smear campaign is extortion.
Don't repeat that.
I've told you.
All right. How do you respond to this? The 22 billion Ghana cedis, 1.7 billion US dollars. He says the IMF report says your outfit is responsible.
All right. Thank you very much, Samson, and a very good morning to your cherished viewers and the panelists in the studio. Samson, you know, for some time now, some of us have been very silent in the media space because of the enormity of the task entrusted us by His Excellency, the President. I'm sure you've not heard me in the media for a long time.
That's right.
And even when people have made various allegations against the Gold Board, I mean, we've taken them in good faith as part of the principle of probity and accountability that public institutions must be subjected to. But when...
And I'll confirm that even where unverified, malicious allegations have been made against you and you have threatened to sue, I've had the opportunity to intervene and your lawyers have spoken to you and you have stayed back.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. So, but you see something, somebody will ask, why is Sammy Gyamfi and the Gold Board speaking now? Why hold a press conference, you know, and respond to this issue in the manner you have done? See, the reason is this: there is a difference between constructive criticism by opponents or critical voices and a deliberate, malicious disinformation campaign. A deliberate smear campaign, not grounded on facts or issues, but intended to denigrate personalities and institutions and demonize them in the eyes of right-thinking members of society. And that is why we've had to respond to this matter the way we have done. And I'm so happy that your producers have, right from the outset, placed the issue in the right perspective by playing an excerpt of statements that were made by Honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin on KSM show. In that clip, you hear him make a categorical statement that the IMF has come out with a report, and in that report, the IMF says Gold Board aboka $1.7 billion.
And government has accepted it.
And government has accepted it. Something that he ought to know is false. And I'm so happy that multimedia, particularly your research team, have decided not to be neutral in this contest between truth and lie. Because most often than not, the media decides to be neutral and allow politicians to debate endlessly issues that are easily verifiable. And that is why I was so happy when you came out with that first fact check on Abnansare on that $214 million loss that she claimed had been put out by the BOG and later contradicted by a figure put out by the IMF. And that is why I was so happy when you also came out with your own verdict, fact check verdict, that it claimed by Afenyo Markin that the IMF has said that the Gold Board has made a loss of $1.7 billion is false and misleading. Because this right here is the relevant portion of the IMF's seat and final review of Ghana's extended credit facility, which they published a few weeks ago. And if you check page 27, paragraph 50, this is what the IMF said about the domestic gold purchase program. It says the domestic gold purchase program weighed on the financial sustainability of the BOG. The DGPP, on which the BOG relied to accumulate reserves and to intermediate effects to the private sector, has generated losses of 22 billion, 1.5% of GDP in 2025. A government cost-sharing agreement at end 2025 involving the transfer of bonds with a par value of 5 billion cedis in March 2026 resulted in the breach of the ceiling on the BOG claims on the central government. And in July 2026, the BOG Gold Board and the government signed a memorandum of understanding formalizing the transfer of the domestic gold purchase program activities from the BOG to the Gold Board. And it goes on and on. Nowhere do they say in this report that the Gold Board has incurred a loss of $1.7 billion.
And if you look at significance.
Yeah, that is actually a different report. That one is a special report they did on selected issues.
That's right.
And if you look at page 10, paragraph 13.
We are projecting that for all of you to follow as well.
What they said is DGPP operations have generated significant losses for the BOG. Losses in 2024 when there was no Gold Board and Sammy Gyamfi was sitting there somewhere in opposition. Losses in 2024 were equivalent to almost $400 million, 0.5% of GDP. 1/3 of which were related to gold for oil, that is G4O. In 2025, the significant scaling up of the domestic gold purchase operations led to losses of over $1.7 billion, almost entirely related to the gold for reserves Dory purchases. This amounted to a loss of 17% of the value of gold sold, by the BOG, and I'll come to that operative word, sold. Okay? So, and later on I'll read other portions of it. So you will see clearly that they say that this is a loss under domestic gold purchase program incurred by the Bank of Ghana and not the Gold Board. Now, something to appreciate the dishonesty, okay, of the proponents of this false narrative, particularly Afenyo Markin. You need to go back to what their earlier position on this matter was. In fact, in the last 3 months, the Gold Board has been a victim of this disinformation campaign right from the hallowed grounds of Parliament. Because anytime Afenyo Markin has stood to speak on any matter, whether or not it has to do with the Gold Board, he always finds a way of bringing in the Gold Board and stating that Gold Board has made losses. And it was for that reason that at that press conference, to put this matter to rest, we adduced our annual report and financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2025, prepared and published by the Auditor General of Ghana. And this is your copy. I will leave it with you. And something